who know that like this is somebody, this is a high integrity individual. And so if you build trust with the audience and you do your best to say no so that you can build a brand where people care, then in time people will watch your videos for longer and they'll click on them more often without you having to explicitly optimize in some of the more like 101 ways that people oftentimes teach in our space.
Number 4, your process is your strategy.
You know, this comes back to the writer's room. Like we would come up with ideas and I'd be like, title good, thumbnail
Right.
good, video's gonna bang. And then we'd make it and I'd be like, this is brutal. Like we couldn't figure out how to make it work for like, in a way that was genuinely new and interesting. It always felt kind of opportunistic. By understanding like, okay, here's the title, here's the thumbnail, good. But how do we build this out into a full format and an experience? And we make sure that people feel comfortable on set. And we know that we're going to be able to edit this in 2 weeks so that the audio guys have a week to just do a mix down and an audio pass. All of that stuff helps inform the identity of the channel, who we are. It builds trust across the org, which means that people feel more comfortable on camera, which translates into a better product for everyone later. When people feel like I'm a chicken with my head cut off, which happens for months at a time here sometimes, it's tough for people to want to do the next video, right? And so by building out a process where it's like we're going to explicitly have 3 weeks where we're just sitting on ideas and riffing on this and thinking about it, we can sort of have more controlled burns, and it makes overall like trust within the org, but also trust with the audience ultimately better. Process has been everything.
That's the blueprint from 0 to 1 million subscribers.
I think it's inauthentic to look at, frankly, any given YouTube channel and try to reverse engineer it to you as like as a person. At the beginning of this year, I interviewed 20 different creators with my co-producer Rich, and we asked them, what camera do you use? And we got all these different answers, and we tried to figure out what's the best camera for creators. And I was so unsatisfied with the answer. Because the answer was like, buy a Sony a7S III. And I was like, but like, why do we keep coming back? And the answer that I realized by the end of this piece is that most of those creators like that camera because they didn't have to think about it, because they're focused on some other differentiator. And the reason Marquez likes a red camera, even though there are other cameras that shoot in RAW, there are other cameras that are cinema cameras, there are plenty of other options that we could go for. The reason he likes that camera is because he authentically understands how to use it very well, and it perfectly fits his stack.
Right.
Where he can to an event and fly across the country with it and still get cinematic video. So you have to understand what makes you unique, because you can't multiply by 0. And if you can start from those fundamentals of understanding what makes, in our case, an ensemble or a person or yourself relentless and undeniable, that's like the real takeaway. Like how I optimize any of these videos, if you try and copy it, it's gonna feel weird and inauthentic. In the same way as when I started doing strategy on the studio, it oftentimes felt weird and inauthentic. And it's I was copying.
But now you really feel the authenticity, and that's why it's growing. That's why people love you guys. And yeah, makes sense.
It's not just authenticity. Other people can be authentic. I could be on here. I could be talking. You want to do therapy right now? I could do therapy, but no one cares. It's about differentiation. I'm a weird, loud Peruvian kid who's good with numbers. People like that specifically, but it has to be a weird combination. You know what I mean? It's not about authenticity. It's about differentiation.
So one last question is, I saw the last video got 700K views and was used the collab feature. So I was wondering, did you see any impact using the collab feature here for a second channel from?
Yeah, we actually like saw hourly views like quickly spike. We actually decided like we should only use this maybe once or twice a year. Like we should be really, really, really intentional about it, because for a lot of people, subscription is like, I want to curate what I'm seeing. And so if you were going to start a second channel to begin with, to spin off the content so your main channel audience wouldn't see it, it doesn't necessarily always make sense in the context of a second channel. But I think the collab feature makes a lot of sense if you're doing something like brand new and you want to seed an audience that might be new to a format or a talent or a value proposition that you're trying to like uniquely sort of compete on.
Last question. Do you have any last nugget for a person wanting to blow up on YouTube?
Stop trying to blow up on YouTube and figure out why you're better than every single other fucking person making your video.
Well, Eric, thanks for coming on the 1 of 10 pod.
I appreciate you, Richard. I hope that this was out of pocket. I hope that the shorts actually absolutely bang.
Let's go.